Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today I am sharing 4 recipes for easy and healthy bowls with you. I did a video on this a few months back and I had a lot of fun doing it and wanted to share another one. So these 4 recipes are going to be fairly simple to put together. Some are a little bit quicker than others. All of them can be meal prepped in advance or eaten right away, so I'll be giving you tips for both of those. And at the end, I'm also going to be sharing a bonus recipe for some low-carb, gluten-free pumpkin bread. The first recipe that I'm going to share is a soy ginger beef bowl. This one has rice and ground beef and some cold salad toppings as well as a wasabi mayo. I'm also going to be sharing a chicken burrito bowl. This one is so simple and easy and quick, and you can customize it with whatever ingredients you have on hand. I'm also going to be sharing a recipe for a Buddha bowl that happens to be vegan. And then I'm also sharing a recipe for a seared tuna bowl, which is really unique. It's something I've actually never tried to make before at home, but it turned out totally delicious and I'm glad that I did. I also wanted to mention that today's video is in partnership with Thrive Market. I've worked with them in the past and I love using their service. They not only have food items, they also have household items, personal care, cleaning items. So make sure that you check out their site. I personally love using Thrive because I can get many ingredients on their site that are super hard to find where I live. If you guys have watched my channel before, you know that I struggle sometimes to get specialty ingredients around here, especially if they are ethnic ingredients or for special diets. I just don't have a lot of options here in a small town Midwest, and so that's what I really enjoy using them for. I've also been always really impressed by their company's values. They currently have a COVID-19 relief fund, which provides grocery stipends to families facing food insecurity during this time. And to date, they have helped raise over $700,000 for these efforts. So that is super impressive. So if you guys want to try out Thrive Market, I will have all of the information in the description box below. There will be a link there, and that will give you up to a $20 off credit on your first order when you join. So be sure that you check that out. So later on in the video, I'll be sharing how you can get your own Thrive Market membership. By using their site, you can save 25 to 50% off grocery store prices on many of these specialty items. I've done price comparisons myself and it's totally legit. Their prices are awesome. I'm going to be sharing the products that I got from Thrive this time and sharing them throughout the video. So let's get cooking. Okay, so we are going to start out with the soy ginger beef bowls. For this, you'll need some ground beef. I have 10 ounces here, a couple of cups of cooked brown rice or white rice, a mini cucumber or about half a regular cucumber, some mayo, some coconut aminos. I love this coconut aminos from Thrive Market. I order it every time I place an order. It's my favorite. Some wasabi, 1 lime, 1 yellow onion, a clove of garlic, some chives or green onions, and some shredded carrots. Any of these recipes that I use, I'll have either linked or typed out in the description box below. So this is how I cook my rice to prep it. I just put equal parts brown rice and water into my Instant Pot or pressure cooker, and then I cook it on high pressure for 15 minutes. I let it do a 5-minute natural pressure release, and then just fluff it up as usual. Leftover rice makes a great addition to your meal prep bowls. It's also great for fried rice, and Thrive Market does carry brown rice as well. So check that out. I will leave the link down below to the exact recipe that I use to cook my brown rice in the pressure cooker. So I'm going to start out this recipe by dicing up my onion. I'm only going to use half of this onion. This recipe will make enough for 2 servings. If you wanted to, you could definitely double this. The main idea to keep in mind with this recipe is that if you're going to meal prep it ahead of time, you just want to keep the elements that you're going to reheat separate from the salad elements. Next, I'm going to crush a couple cloves of garlic. You could also use a garlic press for this. I'm going to get these minced up and into the pan with the onion and the olive oil, and then I'll saute those aromatics with the ground beef. And then that will be the base of our beef mixture for this soy ginger beef bowl. I'm also adding some freshly grated ginger to the pan. I keep my ginger root in the freezer. It grates really, really easily that way, and it also keeps from spoiling. So just a tip there if you want to keep fresh ginger on hand. Today I'm also going to be using this Thrive Market Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil in most of my recipes. I really love this. I got it in my last order and I will definitely be ordering it again. So I'm just going to saute that garlic and onion and ginger over medium-low heat until the vegetables start to soften, and then I'll add in my ground beef. If you're not a fan of ground beef, you could also substitute ground turkey or ground pork for this dish. I think that would work just fine. I think you could also substitute vegetarian or vegan type crumbles if you wanted to, if that fits in with your dietary preferences. While the beef is cooking, I'm going to put my sauce together. So I have a measuring cup here and I'm just adding 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of liquid aminos, about 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. I ordered this from Thrive also. And then I'll also add half a lime juice. You could also use soy sauce with this recipe, but I have really been enjoying the flavor of the coconut aminos more and more as I use it. I think that it has a milder flavor than soy sauce and it's just less salty overall. So just to let you guys know how to get a membership to Thrive Market if you're interested, you can click the link in the description box below to give Thrive Market a try. You can choose the membership that best fits your lifestyle. They have several different options. The first option is to pay monthly and it's $9.95 a month, but the other option is the best value, which is $59.95, and that is billed once annually, so that comes out to less than $5 a month. Since I order from Thrive about once a month, that's the option that I choose because it's a better value for me. They also offer free shipping on any order over $49. So that in and of itself is paying for your annual membership fee right there. The membership fee is also risk-free because if you don't make back the $60 in savings, they will refund you that. That's how strongly that they believe that you'll save by shopping on their site. They also offer a guided shopping quiz, which I think is really great. You can take that before you sign up for your membership to get a personalized shopping list and some product recommendations. That's super fun. So if you guys want to check this out, remember to check out the link in the description box below. You can choose your membership term, and then just remember that your membership is risk-free. You can take the first 30 days to determine if Thrive Market is right for you, and if it's not, just cancel within 30 days and you'll get a full refund. So throughout this video, I'll be sharing some of my favorite products, some new things that I've ordered, and some return products as well. Okay, so our beef now is cooked. I've actually drained that in the sink to get any of the excess fat off, and I am adding our sauce mixture to the beef. And you don't have to cook this very long, just maybe a few minutes over medium heat until the beef is fully coated in the sauce and it thickens up a little bit. So I'm electing to prepare these bowls as a meal prep option. So I have a glass container here. I'm going to put about a cup of brown rice into one side and then put half of the beef mixture into the other side. So I prefer to use glass meal prep containers when I'm going to reheat something. That's just my personal preference. I find sometimes if you reheat plastic in the microwave, especially repeatedly, that it does eventually ruin your containers. So next I'm going to make sort of the garnishments or the salad that goes on top of this bowl. I have one small English and seedless cucumber here that I've just cut into half moons. I'm going to put that in a bowl and squeeze the other half of my lime over that. And then I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of sugar and some salt, and that's it. Just let that sit and it will do kind of a quick pickle. Next, I'm going to pack my salad ingredients up into separate containers. Like I mentioned before, if you're going to meal prep this, just make sure that you keep the cold ingredients separate from obviously the ones that you're going to reheat, just so everything is preserved nicely and you can then assemble it when you're ready to eat it. Lastly, I'm going to make the wasabi mayonnaise, and I was a little bit skeptical of this part of the recipe just because I'm not always the biggest wasabi fan, but this actually ended up being really good. So I squeezed some lime juice in with my mayo, and then I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of wasabi paste. You can put as little or as much as you like. I started out with maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon, definitely not that much, and it was the perfect amount. I'm also going to grate in 1 clove of garlic, give that a stir, and then you can also season it with salt and pepper. I would definitely recommend trying this. If you don't like wasabi, you could also make like a sriracha mayo. That would be really good on this too. So since this is meant to be eaten cold with the dish, I'm putting it into a separate little container, and then I'm just going to dice up some chives to put on the top of my bowl. You could also use green onions. I have a herb garden on my deck, and so I have a ton of chives that I need to go through, and so that's why I elected to use those. So here's how that looks all put together. Again, we have the beef mixture with the rice, the wasabi mayonnaise, and then the cucumbers and the shredded carrots on the side. This was so delicious. If you like Asian flavors, I would definitely recommend making this. You will definitely not regret it. Okay, so next up I'm going to share with you guys how I made these delicious Buddha bowls. We're going to start out by peeling a sweet potato, and that is going to be roasted in the oven. This recipe also makes 2 servings, but feel free to increase that if you want more. I went ahead and peeled my sweet potato. That part is optional. I personally like the peel off of it, but that's definitely up to you. I cut it in half, and then I'm just slicing this into half moons. I'm going to put these on a baking tray that I lined with parchment paper and then drizzle them with olive oil and salt and pepper. At this point, you could really season them with anything that you wanted. I wanted to keep it simple, just salt and pepper, because there are going to be some other strong flavors in this bowl as well. This recipe happens to be vegan. I didn't really do that on purpose. I just thought it looked like a delicious recipe. This comes out of the Bowls cookbook by America's Test Kitchen. So I'll link that cookbook down below. It's a great resource for meal prepping, and there are some really awesome recipes in there. So I roasted these at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, pop them out of the oven, and then I'm just going to flip them over and put them back in for about 10 more minutes or until they're cooked through. That will definitely depend on how thick that you cut them. Next, I'm going to start working on the cauliflower rice portion of this Buddha bowl. So this calls for a couple cloves of garlic. I'm just going to get those peeled and then mince them up. I'm going to end up putting them in my skillet with some olive oil, some chili flakes, and some turmeric powder. This gave the cauliflower rice a great flavor. I have to say, I'm not always the hugest fan of cauliflower rice. I mean, I'll eat it, but it's just not my favorite thing. But this particular seasoning was a definite winner on the cauliflower rice. So even if you're not going to make this Buddha bowl, I would definitely try that part. So before we put the cauliflower rice in, we're just going to kind of toast these spices around a little bit. That's a great way to develop their flavor. I did get this turmeric powder from Thrive. If you guys need to stock up your spice cabinet, they offer a huge variety of spices. I've been really impressed with their selection. So definitely check that out. After the spices and the garlic are sauteed a little bit, I am adding 1 bag of frozen riced cauliflower. You could also rice your own cauliflower, either on a box grater or in a food processor, or you could also buy it fresh or frozen, whichever way will work just fine. I also added a 1/2 cup of water and a pinch of salt, and then I'll basically just cover that up and let it simmer for about 15 minutes or until the cauliflower rice is cooked through and tender. Once it is all kind of broken apart and cooked through, you can take the lid off and then just stir it around until all of the liquid evaporates. After that, you're going to take about a cup of baby spinach and fold that into the mixture, and then you can set that to the side. That part is done. So the next step is to make the crispy chickpeas for this Buddha bowl. So I have 1 packet of the Thrive garbanzo beans that I got in my order. I also have the turmeric powder that is going to go in the seasoning, can't talk, along with some allspice, paprika, coriander, cayenne pepper, cumin, and again, the Thrive Market olive oil that I'm using. So I would say that out of all the recipes I'm sharing today, this one is probably the most time intensive just because there are so many different components to it. But I was definitely excited to try these crispy chickpeas because I've eaten them before, but I've never made them at home. So I rinsed these and then I put them on a plate on a paper towel, and then you're going to put those in the microwave for around 8 to 10 minutes, basically just to dry them out before you crisp them up in the oven. Next, I'm going to make my spice blend. So all of those spices I just mentioned, I'm measuring them out into a small bowl, and then I'll mix those together with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. And then once the chickpeas come out of the oven and are hot, at that point, we'll toss them with the spices. So I have my chickpeas here, and these are the ones that just came out of the microwave. They're all dry now. I'm going to mix those with a little bit of olive oil on a baking tray, and then those are going to roast in the oven at 350 degrees until they are brown and crispy. You do want to keep an eye on these, especially if your oven tends to run hot. You don't want to burn them. I went ahead and set my timer for 30 minutes, and they were done at the end of that time. So here's what they look like when they come out of the oven. You do want to toss them with the spices when they're still a little bit warm so that they absorb some of that flavor. But here's what they look like. I'm just going to sprinkle a few teaspoons of that spice mixture in there and mix that around. Definitely taste a couple. I felt like mine needed more salt, so that's what I did. Next, I'm going to make this creamy roasted red pepper dressing. This is really good. I have made dressings before in the past using raw cashews in place of like cream or milk in dressings, and it always turns out really, really good. So I have some cashews in my blender. I'm adding some roasted red peppers that I drained, some rice vinegar. I also ordered this from Thrive, which was super convenient. I'm going to add a healthy pinch of salt, and then I'll also add some tahini. I talked about this in my last video that I did with Thrive. I love their tahini because it comes in this pouch. All you have to do is squeeze it out. It's super convenient. Next, I'm adding a little bit of sesame oil. So I'm going to give that a shake and then put it in my NutriBullet, and then that is going to just process until it is super smooth. I expected this to be good, but I don't think I expected it to be as good as it was. The flavors in this are spot on. So not only did I use this for the Buddha bowl recipe, but I'm also been using this for salad dressing as well. Okay, so next to go in the bowl, we're going to slice up an avocado. I got lucky this time and my avocado was perfect on the inside. I think in the last video I did with an avocado, I ended up getting a rotten one, which is not fun when you open it up on camera and it's the only avocado in your house. So now I'm just arranging my bowl. I have that cauliflower rice down in the bottom of there with the spinach. I arranged some of the sweet potatoes on top, the avocado, and then I'm also putting some of the crispy chickpeas on as well. And then I'm going to add some of that creamless, creamy roasted red pepper dressing. This was so good. I have not made a Buddha bowl like this before at home, I don't think. So it was really delicious. I'm also going to garnish the top with some chives. Okay, so here is what the finished bowl looks like. So delicious. I would definitely recommend trying this. If you were going to meal prep it, just leave the dressing on the side. Okay, so next up is a seared tuna bowl, and this is also a recipe that I've never tried to make at home before, but it turned out really good. So I have some ahi tuna here, just a couple portions that I thawed out. I got these in the freezer section at my grocery store. I'm also going to use some organic spring mix and then some extra virgin olive oil, some rice vinegar, can't talk again, some of that coconut amino sauce from Thrive. I'm also using this wildflower honey, which I got new in this order, and it is so delicious. I think it might be the best honey that I've ever tasted. I also have a red onion, the other half of my avocado, some shredded carrots, a mango, some ginger, and some sesame seeds. So I'm going to be making this as a meal prep dish as well, but you could also make this in real time and not necessarily meal prep it. So I dried my ahi tuna off with some paper towels, and I just have it on a plate here, and I'm seasoning it pretty well with salt and pepper. And then I have a nonstick skillet that I just heated up to medium hot with some of that olive oil. And then I'm just going to sear this for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. This is really a preference issue depending on how rare you want your tuna. Since I live in the Midwest, not near any body of water that has fresh tuna in it, I'm not always thrilled about making tuna super rare at home. And so I tend to cook it probably about medium well, but that's definitely up to you. And if you live in an area that has fresh tuna available, just know that I'm jealous of you. So for the dressing for this, I have a mason jar. I'm just going to make my vinaigrette in that so I can shake it up. It's super convenient. I have some oil in my jar, some coconut aminos, some ginger, and then I'm just going to put in a teaspoon of that wildflower honey from Thrive and then give this a good shake. I'm also going to put in some olive oil as well. So this dressing also turned out really good. If you were going to make this like for dinner or something and not for meal prep, you would actually just take your spring mix and toss it right with that vinaigrette. But since I was meal prepping this, I elected to keep the dressing separate. So once your tuna is cooled to the touch, you can go ahead and slice it. Again, you can see that I cooked mine about medium rare. And then I'm just going to slice these up, and these will go on top of my salad. So the other great thing about this recipe is it has a really awesome combination of flavors, sort of like a poke bowl would have. Poke bowl is one of my favorite things to order when I go out to eat. I've never made one at home before, but I should probably try it now that I've cooked tuna before at home. But I'm just going to use half the mango for one portion of this salad. I'm going to slice it up as thin as I can. And then I'm also going to slice up a little bit of red onion. Not very much because I don't want it to totally overpower the salad, but just enough to kind of get that flavor and crunch in there. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and get my avocado sliced up. The only thing I would say is if you're going to meal prep avocado, just make sure that you squeeze a little bit of lime or lemon juice over it once you put it in your container. Otherwise, it will tend to get brown if it sits in the fridge uncovered. So I put some salad mix or spring mix in the bottom of my bowl. Then I'm going to arrange my toppings on top. So I'm going to put in the red onion, the mango, the avocado, and the tuna. And then I'll also sprinkle it with some sesame seeds. I would suggest kind of separating these kind of heavier wet ingredients and putting them off to the side of the salad. Don't pile it up all on top, otherwise it will cause your greens to get smashed. I love this salad container, and I've talked about it before. I'll link it down below. It's super helpful to pack healthy meals ahead of time. I also forgot I added some shredded carrots to that. They were kind of just laying out there on the counter, and I thought, oh, that'll be good in there, so I added them. Next, I'm sprinkling over some sesame seeds, and then I'm just going to get my dressing into this little container, which comes with my on-the-go salad container. And who would not be excited to eat this? This meal is so colorful and so delicious. I would definitely recommend it. I have honestly had that tuna in my freezer for quite some time now and just haven't known quite what to do with it, but this was the perfect excuse to get it out and cook it up. Okay, so next up I'm sharing this super simple recipe for chicken burrito bowls, and this actually started several days before. Anytime I grill, chicken or beef or something like that, I always make sure to make a little bit extra just for this purpose. So on this night we were actually having fajitas, and I grilled extra chicken and extra steak because I knew I wanted to have some leftovers to eat during the week. And so this was just chicken that I had marinated in like some cumin, chili powder, lime juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then I had marinated it in a Ziploc bag for probably almost 24 hours and then grilled it. So that's the chicken that I'll be using for this recipe. I'm also using some Thrive organic black beans in a pouch. I'm just going to put those into a fine mesh strainer and give those a good rinse. These are going to go into our bowls with some rice and some corn and the chicken. So again, I have a glass container here because this is going to be something that's reheated. So I'm putting my rice in the bottom of the dish, and then I'm squeezing some fresh lime juice over that just to give it some extra flavor. I'm going to portion out some of the black beans on top, keeping this super simple with some frozen corn, and then I'm also going to add my diced up chicken breast. So with this, I would just say cut it into small chunks. It will be easier to eat that way, and you do not have to thaw the corn out before you prepare this because obviously everything will cook and heat back up when you reheat it. The other thing you could do is you could also season your black beans with a little bit of cumin. I actually forgot to do that. I meant to, but I totally forgot. So that's fine. I can eat it like that or sprinkle some over when I eat it. I'm also adding some shredded Monterey Jack cheese. That is optional. And then I'm going to add some cilantro as well. If I would have had this to do over, I might have just added the cilantro into the rice to kind of make a cilantro lime rice, but that's fine. It's probably going to be mixed up all together once I eat it anyway. Okay, so let's talk about this medium salsa from Thrive Market. This is probably one of my favorite items from them. Adam loves this salsa too. I have to order it every time I place an order, and next time I'm probably going to order 2 jars because it's that good. So for the sauce for this chicken burrito bowl, I'm just mixing together equal parts of sour cream and salsa. If you guys haven't tried that before for a taco salad dressing or a burrito bowl dressing, it's really simple and really, really good. I'm going to put that into a little dressing container, and then that is how you make that one. So again, this one is super simple. If you wanted to keep this vegetarian, you could leave the chicken out. You could also use any other protein that you have on hand. If you have like regular taco meat with ground beef or sliced steak or anything like that, that would work really well in this recipe too. Okay, so I have a little bonus recipe for you. I'm going to be using this Thrive gluten-free pumpkin bread and muffin mix to make some pumpkin bread. Here are the nutritional facts if you're interested. This is gluten-free and low carb. It only comes out to about 10 carbs per slice because it's made with almond flour. So for this, you'll need some melted coconut oil, some water, and some eggs. And then I also have my loaf pan there as well. So I'm basically going to put my coconut oil in a mixing bowl here, 3 tablespoons of that, and then I'll pop that in the microwave for just about 40 seconds to melt that. I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of water and then my 3 eggs. After I made this, I was like, why didn't I substitute some of the eggs for pumpkin puree? I think I would definitely do that next time. The bread is really good, but I think the addition of the pumpkin puree would just make the flavor that much stronger. So once the wet ingredients are mixed together, you can just go ahead and open the bag, stir that in, and that's it. Super easy. I don't often make quick breads with bag mixes, but I definitely wanted to try this. The ingredients in it are super clean, and I wanted to give you guys an idea if you wanted to try this. I get a lot of comments on my videos for people that are wanting, gluten-free recipes, low-carb recipes, vegan recipes, vegetarian recipes. And so I just try to show on my channel a really good mix of all of those diets so that everyone has some inspiration. So I have some parchment paper in the bottom of my loaf pan, and I greased that with cooking spray. I'm just going to pop this into the oven, and this will bake for about 40 minutes. I did have to bake it a little bit longer. You just want to bake it until it's no longer jiggly vertically and the middle is set through. So here's what it looks like. My kids really even like this, so if that tells you anything, and sometimes they can be pretty picky about baked goods, but we sliced this up and had it with some butter for breakfast, and it was delicious. I would definitely purchase it again. I also wanted to share some other random things that I got in my order. These Smart Sweets sugar-free candies, they're supposed to be like Starburst. They are so good if you are trying to eat low carb or low sugar. I would definitely recommend them. I also grabbed some of this green curry paste. I'm excited to use that. And then I also got some of this oat milk. I've actually been foaming this up for my lattes with cinnamon in my Nespresso, and it's been so delicious. I would definitely recommend that product. All right, so if you guys are interested in trying out Thrive Market, I know that you will enjoy their products. I have always been satisfied with the way that they have packed their shipments, with the quality of their products, with the taste. I have never had any issues with anything that I've ordered. Be sure to check out the link in the description box below for membership details and to save up to $20 on your first order. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I have a couple more on the screen here if you enjoyed this that you might want to watch next, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. I'm also going to be sharing